Hi everyone, my name is Braylon and I wanted to sit down with you today to talk to you a bit about Jupiter retrograde. So I have my little planet here, Jupiter. This is going to be helping us really tap into these energies and the different meanings to what this may be having an effect on our lives like. What is this going to do? What is the Jupiter retrograde? What can we, look forward to? What will be some of the challenges? All of that kind of stuff, okay? So I have Jupiter here with us. I love holding this little planet. Jupiter is our largest planet. So I have all the little planets minus Pluto, of course. And Jupiter is a really, really decent size. Like these planets do a really good job at showing the different sizes. I have little itty bitty Mercury and little medium Venus, and Jupiter is definitely a holdable planet. He is large and in charge. So I just wanted to sit down today, guys, and kind of give my interpretation of, what I think this transit is going to bring to our lives. I thought it was very interesting that Jupiter is going retrograde. He went retrograde on March 8th, but it was pretty late March 8th. I believe it was like around 8 p.m. California time. And I live in Michigan, so for Michigan, I believe it was around 11 or so. I'm not sure, but I know that Jupiter went retrograde yesterday, and he is retrograde right now. So, I wanted to sit down and talk to you guys. I have a few notes here just, to keep myself guided. And I also have a few things that I just like to channel and things that I would just like to incorporate in my reading. So, Jupiter retrograde. Jupiter is our largest planet, you guys, in our solar system. And Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius and the co-ruler of Pisces. Let's see here. Jupiter is known as the king of the gods, and Jupiter rules our higher mind, you guys. So when I think of Jupiter, I definitely think more Sagittarius. I think most Pisces are very Neptunian. Neptune is the ruler of Pisces, and very anciently, they call Jupiter the ancient ruler of Pisces. So long ago, Jupiter was considered the ruler of Pisces as well, the co-ruler. So what do Pisces and Sagittarius have in common? Well, they square each other on the zodiac wheel back here. Pisces and Sagittarius make this kind of 90-degree angle, I believe, but they square each other. So that's an interesting aspect there. And the one thing that Jupiter and that Pisces and Sagittarius have in common is our belief in things, right? The only difference really is that, of course, Sagittarius is a fire sign, Pisces is a water sign. But Sagittarius, they're all about the expansion of sight. That's why I think more Sagittarius when I think Jupiter, because Jupiter is the planet of expansion. Sagittarius is the ninth house of philosophy, so it's all about taking this kind of philosophical approach to life, towards our beliefs, towards what we can gain higher knowledge towards, right? And then, of course, a lot of astrologers mention how Jupiter is the planet of luck and Jupiter is the planet of good fortune. And just personally, I believe that Jupiter is associated with luck and good fortune because this is an optimistic planet. This is a planet that has a relatively good energy, just like Sagittarius. Sagittarius is always energetic. They're always kind of this energetically hopeful kind of individuals, right? So Jupiter kind of takes on that same energy. It has a very positive vibe to it. So it's all about, our faiths and our beliefs. Now, this planet has gone retrograde, so some of you may not know what retrograde means. Now, when I first started studying astrology, one of the first planets that I realized went retrograde was, of course, Mercury, which we have going retrograde in a couple weeks on the 22nd. So Mercury is one of those planets that go retrograde most. It goes retrograde at 4 times a year or something like that. And then we have Jupiter, and I just read this last night while I was studying about this. Jupiter goes retrograde every 3 years, I want to say, or no, not 3 years. It was like 13 months or 19 months, something like that. So I'm like, wow, Jupiter goes retrograde like not too often, but the whole act, guys, of this retrograde, the very word retro means to move backwards, right? Have you ever heard someone say we have to look at this in retrospection or look at this in retrospect? Well, what that means is that you want to look at a series of past events. So when a planet moves retrograde, what it essentially is doing is it's planets have their own natural orbits, and they orbit and they orbit and they orbit, but sometimes a planet begins to slow down until it's actually at a halt. And when this planet halts, well, to the human eye, it seems as if this planet is moving backwards, right? And astrologers have that debatable, they say that Mercury doesn't really move backwards, it just appears to be moving backwards. But the energy that the planet is giving off is a very retro, past movement, slowing down. Let's take a minute here. So Jupiter is essentially slowing down in the sky, and it is coming to a halt. Instead of it moving forward and going on its natural course of action, it's slowing down. Now, and I'm looking at this as in an energetic way. Like, wow, I feel like it's so interesting that these planets kind of slow down, and kind of stop moving. And you got to think why that is. And when this happens in astrology, at least for me, I like to think about what that planet means and what that planet is doing in the sky, where that planet is in our chart, right? Where that planet is doing this certain thing at in our life, because then we could have a better understanding as of how this is going to affect us. So just in general here in the intro video, I wanted to talk a little bit about Jupiter and what I think Jupiter means and what I think it means for Jupiter to be going retrograde. And then I wanted to talk to you guys individually, each of the 12 signs, real quickly. Just, I'm hoping that it can be about 10 minutes of conversation so that all together these can be about 30 minutes or so. Yeah, I just wanted to take a look at collectively where this energy is going to be happening. Now, Jupiter is going retrograde in the sign of Scorpio. So, of course, all the Scorpios watching, that means that Jupiter is going retrograde in your first house of self. So Scorpios are kind of experiencing this firsthand. And then we have Sagittarius that's experiencing this in their 12th house, and then we have Pisces who's experiencing this in their 9th house. So all these different energies are going to play out in different unique ways for all of us. But this is significant, guys. Very, very significant for this to be happening. It's interesting to me that the planets have all been direct for about 3 months. A lot of the astrologers that I watch have been talking about that, how they really don't have any knowledge or memory of the planets being direct for this long of a time. So we had a good chunk of time for all these energies to be forward moving, and I do hope that all of us took advantage of that. I hope that we, took those energies and used those influences to really drive us and to move us forward, because now we have some planets kind of moving backwards, and this does affect our lives, guys. So Jupiter is the first retrograde of 2018, making it very interesting. It's like all this light is being shed on Jupiter until Mercury joins the retrograde energy on the 22nd. Now, Jupiter is more of a higher octave. It's interesting that Gemini is opposite of Sagittarius, right? Gemini is ruled by Mercury. So Gemini and Sagittarius are opposites because we have this whole third house and this 9th house energy. Now, the 3rd house is the lower mind, right? We think of communication. So Mercury rules the lower mind, kind of. Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo. So I just thought it was interesting that no matter what way you look at it, Mercury is opposite this very, this belief energy, right? Virgo is opposite Pisces, which is the co-ruler of Sagittarius, of Jupiter. So Gemini is opposite of Jupiter, Virgo is opposite of Jupiter. So whatever way you look at it, Mercury is kind of the opposite shadow energy of Jupiter. And I think that's because Mercury controls more of the thoughts and communication, kind of the lower mind, the mind that we're used to operating at, but then there's an ascension that happens, right? That's a very Jupiter word, ascension. Because to ascend is to essentially expand, right? And Jupiter is all about that. So when you gain higher knowledge, when Mercury kind of takes steroids, it becomes this Jupiterian figure. And Jupiter is all about, philosophy. It's all about getting to the deeper meaning of things. It's all about our beliefs. Now, our beliefs, that's a different area of our chart, right? It's the 9th house. Jupiter rules the 9th house of our beliefs, of higher education, wisdom, all of these words that mean to simply expand your knowledge, right? Jupiter is all about the higher mind. Mercury is the lower mind. Jupiter is the higher mind. So at the end of this month, you guys, we're going to have our higher mind and our lower mind together, not in the same house or anything, but they're going to be retrograding back into the past. Now, one of the things that I was led to write down when I was kind of taking notes and getting into this kind of Jupiter feel is Back to the Future. Now, I have not watched Back to the Future as thoroughly as I should, but I'm actually planning on doing so. I think all of us should kind of, even those of you who are kind of from the older generation who really know Back to the Future, and if I did, I would probably incorporate that a lot here in this kind of video, but I know enough about Back to the Future, and just saying that kind of is interesting, like Back to the Future, like that's kind of moving forward and backwards at the same time, going back to the future. So I don't know why I was led to say that or led to write that down here, but I think this Jupiter retrograde is going to have a lot to do with going back to the future. So very, very oxymoron there, guys, and it just shows you how expansive Jupiter really is. Jupiter is this planet. Anything that Jupiter touches, it expands, right? It expands it. So Jupiter going retrograde is kind of, I feel that it is expanding our past in different areas of our life. This is Jupiter's way of kind of saying, okay, guys, so Saturn and Sagittarius since 2000, Saturn was in Sagittarius, I do believe, from 2014 to 2018, I believe. But for the last 3 years or so, guys, we had Saturn in Sagittarius, and this energy is kind of being brought back up because Saturn left Scorpio in 2000. Well, it was in Scorpio 2012, and then it entered Sagittarius. So that energy, I believe, is being brought back up here because I believe during the last 3 years of our life, we had a lot of karmic beliefs form. We had a lot of karmic knowledge. We gained a lot of karmic wisdom. And what I mean by that is that it was just simply on our karmic path to learn these things. I believe that Saturn in Sagittarius definitely aligned us with some of the beliefs that we were actually karmically meant to align with, right? So here comes Jupiter, the ruling planet of all this energy. And I believe that when Jupiter slows down like this, that it's really a test on our faith. Okay, we didn't realize that, right? We just, as humans, we just so effortlessly, well, it's not always effortlessly, but if you think about what it is that you believe, right? What it is that you really believe. Now, what does it even mean to believe in something? Well, to me, when I was kind of reflecting on this energy, it means to have faith in something. It means to, and Jupiter is the planet of sight. Sagittarius is the house of sight. Seeing is believing, right? But then Pisces is ruled by Jupiter because that's the energy. When you get to the 12th house, it's not about seeing. It's not about seeing, it's feeling. So I think beliefs kind of mix those two energies together. Sag and Pisces, science and spirituality. All of these things are kind of being touched on here with this Jupiter retrograde because Jupiter wants to know why we believe in the things that we believe in and if these are authentic beliefs. And it's good. It's good for our belief systems to be checked like this because, like I said, for some of us, it's so effortless. Some of our beliefs have been taught to us. Some of our beliefs have been forced on us. Some of our beliefs, and a good example of this, guys, is that some of us are actually walking around with the belief that we are less than what we are. With the belief, sometimes there's false beliefs, right? So a false belief is another thing that comes up here. It's time for us to look at these energies in retrospection. Why do I believe what I believe? What has caused me to believe these things? So our foundation, the foundation of our beliefs are being refined. They're being looked at in a greater way. Jupiter is kind of disappearing a little bit, guys. I kind of felt the need to say when I woke up today, where's Jupiter? And what I was going to say to you guys is that we so effortlessly, we go through lives and we're like these human sponges. We learn, just like a philosopher. Just like Jupiter, where life is an adventure that we're studying. It's a science project. This is kind of an experiment, you know what I mean? And so during those experiments, when you're writing these notes and you mix this with this and, oh, you had an explosion, let me write that down. Well, your beliefs are kind of shaped and formed around these ideas, around these, the evidence that you have, right? And so it really brings the question to me, should evidence and beliefs go in the same department? Now, when you're talking about the ninth house, yes, sure. When you're speaking in a scientific term, scientists are all about proving things. But here's the thing. When you really, truly believe in something, do you need proof? So I have a post that every time the planets do something major, like Mercury retrogrades, new moons, full moons, and of course Jupiter retrograde, I had to post, a little bit. I like to keep my friends and peers, like online peers, updated. My social media is used for mainly astrology and enlightenment and positive reinforcement, things like that. I like to use that as a platform, to kind of spread positive energy and stuff like that. So, and on my post on Instagram and on my post on Facebook, I was talking about Jupiter, I usually just channel these things. I usually just pick up my phone and I'm typing out whatever messages come to me. I kind of channel it. I do a little bit of studying here and there. And it's interesting that I say that because Jupiter involves both of those things. Beliefs involve both of those things. A little bit of studying, a little bit of experimenting, but then sometimes it's just a feeling that you have. Hello, Pisces. Hello, Sag. Pisces and Sagittarius together, man, is there magic that happens when they come together, because you have literally Jupiter together. You have Pisces, you have the ninth house and the 12th house. Between when you travel around the zodiac wheel from Sagittarius season to Pisces season, little do you know, you are developing a strong belief in something, in yourself, in your foundation, in your emotion, in your lifestyle, wherever this energy is hitting for you. I believe what takes place between the ninth house and the 12th house is a very obscene amount of faith and belief. You move from seeing and sight to feeling and emotion. So it's just really, really interesting to talk about all this. And another thing is that, back to what I was saying about the poster, whatever, a lot of questions came up. Like, one of the questions I put was, why is it that we need to see where we're going before leaving? You ever think about that? Why is it that we need to see? And then it reminds me of that Martin Luther King quote. Belief, well, I think he said, having faith is taking that first step without seeing the rest of the staircase. So if you really want to just use that as a metaphor, like think of yourself, and this is another thing. I've always used that analogy myself too. He was a Capricorn, Martin Luther King. So, which means Sagittarius, it was his 12th house. Interesting. But when I think about beliefs, when I think about having faith in something, I always picture this ladder in my head. I picture this old wooden ladder that's been out in somebody's shed for a long time. And, one day they just, they need a ladder for something. So they're like, I got it. I got a ladder out back, And they see this, they come face to face with this ladder. And, their belief in it, their trust in it, is a little bit shaky, so what do? It's kind of like jumping into water, right? You don't trust that you're afraid, right? So essentially belief is the opposite of fear. Belief is having hope and trust and faith in something, right? So when you break these energies down, it's like, I believe in you. Well, what does that mean? Well, it's like, I have faith in you. That's what it means. When you hear that, or when someone says, I believe in you, or when they say, I don't believe that, I don't believe that to be true. Well, it means that you don't think it's true. You don't have faith that that's true. So I think beliefs and faith go hand in hand, and I think the opposite of belief is doubt. I think the opposite of belief is fear. Fears and doubts, they go right together. What we fear is what we doubt. Sometimes we doubt that we fear things. Sometimes we doubt we're fearing things because we have doubts in them, okay? So this is what's coming up, guys. This is what this Jupiter retrograde is all about, I think. I believe, when the planet is moving forward, what they symbolize is what they symbolize: expansion, higher knowledge, philosophy, the higher mind, wisdom, education, educating yourself, luck, good fortune, whatever. So when we take that meaning and move it backwards, I don't want to say that it means the opposite, because I kind of think about tarot when and I don't do reversal cards often, but let's use the Hanged Man, right? And that's an awful one to use because he's already upside down. But the Hanged Man, right side up, means enlightenment. It means looking at something from a different point of view. All right, I should have used like a more extreme card, right? But that one just came to mind for some reason. And I think that's a Neptune card. But if you turn that meaning around, it means maybe not looking at something from a different way. Maybe the extreme need to look at something from a different way. Maybe it means that you're no longer suspended on an idea. So anyway, my point is that when I sit and think about these energies, just as my own I'm kind of a novice astrologer, right? And not really. Like, I love astrology. I've been studying it for a year now. but there's more to learn. And I go off of what I feel. I like to channel things. That's where I get all my information. Of course I study a little bit, but sometimes I just have this higher knowledge. I have Jupiter in Sagittarius, so and that's in my 12th house. So I'm all about belief. I'm all about learning more. And Jupiter, I did read that Jupiter is how we're going to be of service, how we want to help other people, because it's the expansion planet. So wherever Jupiter is in your chart, it's essentially expanding. So for me, no wonder I'm doing this channel and doing tarot cards, because my 12th house and my 11th house are expanded, right? So spiritual friends are especially good for me, and I hope that that's what expands in my life. But go backing up a little bit. Speaking of backing up, thank you, universe. I kind of forgot my thought there, but we were literally talking about backing up. So, and we were talking about the reverse tarot cards and stuff like that. So to me, I think of what Jupiter means moving forward. Jupiter is a very expansive, higher knowledge type of thing. So when we say Jupiter is slowing down in the sky and Jupiter is moving backwards, well, I don't think it means the opposite of what Jupiter traditionally means. So it doesn't mean bad luck. A lot of people think, oh, well, Jupiter means good luck and good fortune. So, oh no, Jupiter's going retrograde. We're going to have bad luck. We're not going to have any good fortune. I don't believe that. I believe that that could be true for those who manifest that for themselves. But I'm really feeling strange. I don't think Jupiter's that simple. Sure, it may mean that we have to try harder. It may mean that you won't find 20 bucks on the ground tomorrow. It may mean that you have to do something to align yourself. So I think luck is going to be, it's almost like Jupiter. I don't mean to, Jupiter, I hope you're okay with this, but I kind of just seen a fairy in my head. A little fairy godmother that's all, and it's so interesting. I have a little crown right here that I'm looking at as I say that. So Jupiter is like this fairy godmother of luck, right? It's magic. Jupiter is magic. Jupiter is the sight. It's all like this. It's very wise planet, okay? Very, very wise planet. And for Jupiter to be moving retrograde, it means that his influence is not as strong. And it's not because Jupiter is weaker or anything. It means that the influence needs to be taken back a few steps. I think that Jupiter has been straightforward and online for so long, and we had that long period of Sagittarius having Saturn in their sign, so everything was karmic, and our luck and all of that, our good fortune was very karmically bound. So I don't think that Saturn was too comfortable within a Jupiter ruled house, because Saturn and Jupiter are kind of opposite energies. Saturn restricts, Jupiter expands, so there was that harsh energy. But I think that those were essential years of learning, what we believe in. I think our beliefs were kind of tried and restricted, but expanded at the same time. So what I'm trying to say, guys, is that as far as the challenges of this transit, I believe that this is an important time. Very, very important that we keep the faith. If you all of a sudden start doubting something during this is the next 4 months. Another thing I meant to mention is that this planet is retrograde until July 10th. So that's 4 long, long, long months of the planet of expansion, the planet of luck, the planet of higher knowledge, the planet of philosophy and our beliefs, definitely slowing down a bit. A little bit harder to access, right? But that's why you go within, because we all have our own natal Jupiters, right? Some of you may be born when Jupiter was in retrograde. And, I read that when Jupiter is in retrograde in a person's chart, they may have a difficult time expanding. So guys, it's just time that we put in our own work. Jupiter is always here to expand. And I think we take Jupiter for granted, like our beliefs are something that's so personal to us, right? That's why it's in the 9th house of so we're passionate about our beliefs, we're emotional about our beliefs. Gosh, have you ever tried to bring up some kind of religious conversation with somebody, and if you don't agree, it gets crazy, right? Some of our main wars have been fought over religion, and that is so weird to say that, because Mars is currently hanging out in Sagittarius with the moon right now, and golly, like, religion is just, I know that it serves a good purpose or whatever, but you want to evolve into this kind of spirituality, like get on board, because religion is kind of man-made. It's just so interesting that the 9th house is both the house of science and beliefs, because those two things didn't really agree back in the day. When people used to, it was either the Big Bang Theory or God, or is it evolution or Christianity, and it's like, guys, it's both. Like, it's everything. You're supposed to expand on everything. Why do you think Sagittarius and Pisces are ruled by the same planet? Because we're supposed to expand equally. Science and spirituality go hand in hand. The astrology tells it all. Pisces and Sagittarius are ruled by the same planet because we are supposed to expand equally when it comes to science and spirituality. They go hand in hand. That's why I love astrology. Astrology is spiritual, astrology is scientific, astrology is factual. I mean, go outside and look at the stars. Like, they're there. The moon is here. The moon is full on the 31st. If you go outside on the 31st, guarantee the moon's going to be full in Libra. Like, science, I love mixing science and beliefs. Astrology is my calling, and I just appreciate it so much. And for this planet to be going retrograde, guys, I feel that we're going to have to put in a little bit more work. We're going to have to work a little bit harder. Things aren't just going to appear for us. We're not just going to, it's kind of necessary. It's a necessary slowing down because Jupiter wants to know who's going to stay optimistic for the next 4 months. In the next 4 months, are you going to be, do you really need help? Because listen, guys, when you truly believe in something, when you truly have faith in something, you don't need to see the end result. And that's the whole Jupiter scientific Jupiter belief. Are you a scientist or do you believe in this? Do you need to mix these two beakers to know that they don't go well together? Are you just gonna, it's kind of it's a chance. Like, that's why Jupiter is the planet of good luck and fortune, because I just picture a scientist that literally didn't blow up in his lab because, because he was lucky and because he just has a lot of good fortune. So it's important for this planet of good fortune and luck to kind of slow down sometimes. The universe thought it was necessary for between March 8th and for July 10th for this planet to move retrograde. Our beliefs are slowing down. Our faith in things are going to be challenged. We are going to experience certain doubts, okay? But Jupiter wants to know who's going to expand these doubts. Are you going to expand beyond the doubts? Because doubts come up to show you, hey, what if it doesn't work out? You don't know. What if this step isn't real? Well, I have faith. And you know what, guys? I'm going to tell you, as a Pisces, my faith gets me places all the time. Like, it doesn't matter if I go against the physical. Like, listen, Virgo and Pisces, Gemini, Sagittarius, the reason why we're opposites is because, well, there has to be balance, first of all. But what I was going to say is that by nature, I go against reality because I am the opposite of Virgo. I'm the opposite of the 6th house. So as a Pisces, being co-ruled by Jupiter, being ruled by Neptune and Jupiter, it makes me a really, really weird person of belief. You ever see a Pisces believe in something? If a Pisces, you got to be careful, because if you're a Pisces and you believe in something, it is going to happen. This is all about manifestation, you guys. How do you manifest something? Well, you believe in it. You see it happening before it happens. That's what a spiritual person will tell you. You want to align yourself with abundance? Well, then you need to behave like a person who already has abundance. It's like aligning yourself with something before it's there. That's the trick. That's the trick to the universe. How do you think we all came here? Is because something believed in it enough. Something saw it happening before it happened. And that gets me talking about visions, right? Jupiter can be the planet of vision. It's the planet of sight. It's the planet of foresight. When you talk about Pisces and Sagittarius together, it's the planet of seeing before. So you talk about deja vu, if you ever experienced deja vu, Jupiter is all that. It's about having the higher knowledge. Like, I feel that this is extremely strange territory to be talking about, but it makes sense to me. Do not doubt yourself. Do not doubt yourself. If Jupiter will show you what it is that you shouldn't believe in any longer. So some of us, okay, Taurus, I'm going to use you as an example. Taurus is going through a Jupiter retrograde in their 7th house of relationships. Some of you Tauruses out there, you could have been keeping the belief in this relationship. You could have been keeping it. Oh, it's okay. I just believe we'll fix this. I just believe it. I just believe. I believe. But Jupiter goes retrograde, and some of you, not all of you, so don't freak out, Taurus. Okay, I know you guys are really loyal lovers. I have a Taurus moon, okay? But for some of you Tauruses out there, if you have had a false belief in a relationship, because sometimes we can create false beliefs. We are our own gods, right? We are made in the image of the Creator. We are in a universe. So universes create things all the time. Supernovas, dark matter, universes are infinite, right? So sometimes we expand beyond infinity. And when you expand beyond it, like I asked it on my Facebook post, I said, what happens when you expand beyond the expandable? Well, you are very wise and you come back knowing the unknowable. You come back, and that's exactly what it feels like talking to you guys, is that I'm explaining things that only make sense if you're able to expand. So if you guys are Mercury ruled, and I'm not saying that Mercury's closed-minded, but Mercury's more about facts. Facts and beliefs, they're different. They're kind of cousins. They kind of get along sometimes. But when a person truly believes in something, they don't need to know for sure, right? I heard that on a movie before. I heard that on some kind of movie quote or something. But that's also something that just came from me, is that when you believe in something, you don't need to read it. You don't need to see it or feel it. You just know. So as a Pisces, sometimes I literally can feel an energy around me. I'm like, I know there's an energy around me, or I know that person is going through this. And then you have people that gaslight you. So I want to mention there, be careful of gaslighting around this time. And if for those of you who don't know what gaslighting means, it's someone who's essentially manipulating you. They know what they're doing. They know that you're true. They know that you're telling the truth, and that they believe you. But they want to make you feel crazy just for the sheer fact of manipulation. Like, this is when someone knows that you're, like, you guys literally know it together. Happens in relationships a lot. Like, just like, it's like if I was talking about astrology to a person who literally believes in astrology too, but they just want to gaslight me. It's like they take your energy. No, astrology ain't real, man. Even though they read their horoscope every night, they're like, man, whatever, that shit ain't real. Yeah, okay, you're gaslighting me. Like, gaslighting is something that happens to our beliefs. And I feel that it's interesting that this is coming up, because I believe that we should be very careful of gaslighting over this time, because our planet that symbolizes our higher knowledge, well, it's going to be harder to reach, you guys. That's what Jupiter retrograde means. It's going to be a little bit harder to reach. And, that brings up the ultimate test of who is really going to be about it, who's going to still be doing this. So I'm going to talk to you guys all about the different areas. I'm going to go through all the 12 signs in the videos and talk about the areas that this is happening individually for you, for Aries, for Taurus, for Gemini, for Cancer, so this is happening in opposites for all of us. And I'm going to just talk a little bit about the houses that this is happening in. Right? For Aries, this is happening in their 8th house. For Taurus, this is happening in their 7th house. Gemini, their 6th house. So those energies mean different things, and we can kind of hone in and talk about this a little bit more. So that'll be a little bit more clear to you guys, because this is a time where our sight can be a bit blurred. Now, it's so interesting that this happened in Pisces season, where, our emotional beliefs are coming up, where completions are happening. I'm telling you, this happened for a reason, for Jupiter to go retrograde in Pisces season. Our faith is going to be tested and tried. Okay? Jupiter is moving backwards and slowing down, so that we have to put in more work when it comes to what we believe. Okay? And it's important that we stay optimistic and energetically hopeful about this, because this is like a dissipating faith. Our faith is going to be a little bit, it's to test people. Do you believe in this because you have proof? Or then there's the real ones that believe because they feel it. They believe because, see, there's two different kinds of belief. Some of us believe things because it's what we've been shown and taught our whole life. Some of us believe things because it's what we've saw. It's because it's what we, but I'm saying there's other things that you believe in your heart and soul that you really have no knowledge. And that's interesting that Jupiter is the planet of beliefs and higher knowledge. Those two things that's a dangerous combination, because unless you look at it in a way like your knowledge comes from a higher source. Because, see, people don't understand that knowledge isn't factual. Knowledge is just what a person knows. We can bring knowledge with us from 7 lifetimes ago. And maybe in this lifetime, that knowledge isn't here. Maybe some of us are from different planets, and what we know is not factual here. But how does that mean that it's not factual in another area? Does it mean that it's not factual in another realm? Because in the dream realm, I can be at 7 places at once. But here, matter and gravity and shit doesn't work like that. So you want to be careful of what you think is facts, because facts leave no room for possibilities. So, when we step into this place of doubt, which I believe some of us are going to be challenged with, this place of doubt, this place of fear, now that Jupiter is a little bit invisible, now that Jupiter is harder to reach, farther away from us, moving backwards, you want to be careful when you're dealing with these doubts. You want to ask yourself why, because doubts are what we believe easiest in. Isn't that crazy? Our fears are what we believe the most. The negativity, you ever realize that we believe the negative things that people say about us? It's easier to believe the negative things that people say than it is to believe the positive things. And that's coming up now, guys, in this video, because Jupiter is literally bringing this all to the forefront. What are our doubts? What are our beliefs? What is the relationship between those two things, and why? Is there any kind of higher knowledge that we can gain from it? Is there a wiser approach that we can take, or something more that we can learn? Now, something I haven't mentioned yet, guys, well, I've mentioned it a little bit with the whole Back to the Future thing. It's going to be trippy. It's going to be trippy because this isn't like Mercury. Mercury goes backwards and it's literally a blast from the past. But since this is such an expansive planet, Jupiter is moving back into our past, not only to, go over, and this is it. Jupiter is going to cover areas over the last 4 or 5 years. Anything that you've, developed a belief in or developed faith in over the past 4 or 5 years, Jupiter is going to go back in time and show you it from a different angle. It's going to expand it for you. So that's why Jupiter is such a badass planet that even when it travels retrograde, it's expansive still. It's even more expansive, honestly. Its influence is even more expansive because it's almost like a parent that chills out, and lets this kid, I picture a baby walking and kind of falling down and that parent's right there to catch him, right? Oh, it's okay. How's that kid ever going to believe in itself? So Jupiter is kind of like our crutches, but you should never have a crutch when it comes to your belief. You should just be able to walk. You should just have faith. You should just try and keep faith, because faith will get you a long way, guys. And it's all about these doubts that we have, and these doubts are going to come up in different areas. We're going to cover that in the personal videos. So Jupiter's traveling back into the past, you guys, and that when our parent, we're walking on our own now. We're these 3-year-olds or however old we are when we start walking, and we want to do it ourselves, and it's time to prove ourselves to the universe that we do believe in what we believe in, and that our beliefs are an expansion of us. They are an ascension of us. We are evolving and ascending. We are ascending, and our beliefs either help us grow or they diminish us. I know, and it's none of my business, but some people believe in certain things that, our beliefs are powerful over us. What we believe shapes us. What we believe is what we base our entire life off of. Why do you think this is the biggest planet of the solar system? It has a lot of influence over our lives. So you want to ask yourself, most importantly, if this confused you, ask yourself what it is you believe in and what got you there. Do you believe in it because it was taught to you? Do you believe in it because you want to pay attention to the answer? Why do I believe in this? Why do I have faith in this person, place, or thing? And the answer to that is going to be essentially what ascends you. You're going to be a lot wiser when you ask yourself these questions. Why is it that I need to see where I'm going? Doesn't that kind of, it makes the journey pointless, right? Sometimes you can't see what's up ahead and you just have to carry on and walk on your own and have faith in the journey, have faith in the universe, have faith in yourself, have faith in your own strength. These things are coming up, you guys, because Jupiter is slowing down. And, like I said, our faith and beliefs will be challenged by doubt and by fear. And you want to look out for gaslighting too. I believe that we are going backwards in time. Our higher minds are pausing and going backwards to expand on what we may have missed, We're going backwards to gain wisdom. And Jupiter is going in these certain areas because we need to grow. Some of these areas that we need growth in need more time. It's very important. These things are very important that we could have missed. Jupiter can be so expansive sometimes that we could expand beyond things that we could have learned a little bit more about. That's the only thing about, science and beliefs, is that we expand and we learn more and we learn more and we learn more, and more of the puzzle comes together. And there may have been something that we missed. So I love retrogrades and I embrace retrogrades because there's obviously something that the universe is trying to show us. from the past, or it's not necessarily the past, it's just something that's not in front of us on the journey. There's Jupiter says that there's something behind us that we overlooked. There's something that we can learn from our past. There's something we can learn from what has already occurred, and it's time to look at that in a different way. It's time to look at that. We've grown a lot, over the past years. So it's time to take who we are now and who we are because of these beliefs and because of our faith, and look at this in a different way, because we're not the same people, so we're not going to be looking at it in the same perspective. Our perspective has been expanded. Our knowledge, we know more, we see more, we believe in different things. I bet our beliefs have changed. If you think about what you believed as a child, Santa, do you guys still believe in Santa Claus? Because, I'm sorry, Santa, but I have not gotten any presents, and I don't, holidays or whatever they are, but, that's just an example. Do you believe in the Tooth Fairy still? So it's so interesting that our belief is ruled by a mutable fire sign and a mutable water sign, because our feelings change a lot. The fact that Jupiter is ruled by mutable planets, it just goes to show you that our beliefs change out throughout life. Our philosophy, our higher knowledge, it has to be something that can change. Because think about it. Think of Jupiter was ruled, and that's interesting. Mercury is also ruled by mutable signs, Gemini and Virgo, because what we think often changes. And it's interesting to think about Mercury and Jupiter together, because our lower mind and our higher mind, our thoughts and our beliefs kind of mix together. They're friends a little bit. So our beliefs are essentially shaped by around what we think and what we believe, what we think and what we believe, what we believe we think, what we think we believe. Okay? Astrology, man, it's wild. And it makes sense if you just take a minute and just kind of look at these things, take some time to discuss these things, these different energies. It's interesting that Jupiter is ruled by a mutable energy. And that just goes to show you that what we believe changes and it mutates over time. And you want to be careful, because sometimes that's a negative thing. Sometimes others can impose our beliefs. Sometimes others impose their beliefs on us, right? You have those people that, and I don't disrespect any of these religions, but I don't feel a positive energy from anybody who tries to force a belief on you. Jupiter is not about forcing anything. It's about the natural expansion of things. You ever have a really deep, expansive conversation with somebody, and even if you believe in different things, you still learn? That's what Jupiter is about. Jupiter is so expansive that you can disagree. You can move backwards. You can go back to the past and look at something differently without the harsh feelings, without a war. We do have Mars and Sagittarius and stuff like that. But what we believe in, it shouldn't add aggression. It should happen naturally. Our beliefs, guys, if you're wondering, well, what do I believe? What is my faith? Some people find themselves troubled when they don't have a religion. When they don't believe in something, it's like, you believe in something. Some of you are agnostic. Some people believe in many different things. I believe in everything. I believe that if there's a human somewhere thinking it, that somewhere it exists. So I wouldn't worry too much about your beliefs changing, but more so them just evolving into something that is a more accurate depiction of your life now. It's important that what we believe in over time, there's 1-year-old us and 2-year-old us and 21-year-old us and 67-year-old us. And if we take those different points of our lives, what we believe in is different. It might stay the same, but it might change. A lot of us feel like what we believe in should stay the same forever, but no. What we believe in, the human experience is all about expansion. It's all about growing and expanding and ascending. We came here to ascend. We came here to experience growth and lessons and karma and energy. And guys, I just feel like this is a time for us to look at all that in just a little bit different of a way. And I promise you, come July, over the next few months, we're really going to be expanding in different areas of our lives, and it's for the better. It's because we needed a little bit more time. There's something in the past, something behind us that Jupiter is going to expand. Okay? And, this is happening all in our 8th house. So it may happen beneath the surface. It may happen a little bit secretive like. It may happen intimately, because Jupiter's in Scorpio. Jupiter's going to be in Scorpio until next year. So when Jupiter is in the 8th house, it expands in an intimate way. It expands at an emotional level. It expands at an intensity. It's, this is really, really rocking awesome, you guys. It's pretty awesome. So this is what I think about Jupiter retrograde. I do hope that this information was kind of cool, and this is just what I think. This is just what my mind came up with today. There's always more to say, and I'm gonna save that for your individual videos. Those are gonna be like 10 minutes or so, guys, or maybe 15-20 minutes long, so that these videos can be about an hour long altogether. So that's what I have for you, and this is Jupiter, you guys. Jupiter's retrograde. And this is what I think it's gonna, these are the energies that I believe this is what I think, I guess. And we can expand a little bit further on that in your individual videos, where I can talk to the individual sign, a little bit more about the actual house that it's expanding. Now, as far as your natal charts, hit me up. We can talk about what Jupiter means in certain houses, but this is general. In general for Gemini, in general for Pisces, in general for Aries, all these different signs, okay? So, hey Jupiter, thanks for going retrograde, bud. Let's see what you got. Expand us. All right, guys, I will talk to you in the videos for your individual sign. See ya. Hi Capricorn, here to talk to you about Jupiter retrograde happening in your 11th house. Very interesting, Capricorn, to be going through a Jupiter retrograde in your 11th house. And this is the house of friends. This is the house of groups and community, social groups, networking. Let's see here. Pro associations is what I have. Oh, professional associations. And I wanted to write that down because that seemed so Capricorn to me. So I want you to keep in mind during this conversation that Jupiter is hitting all these areas, groups of friends, peers around you. This is the house of Aquarius. So this even rules the internet, Capricorn. So Jupiter is going to be hanging out in your 11th house for quite some time until Jupiter moves into Sagittarius in 2019. So you're going to have this 11th house expansion going on for a while. And I'm not sure if you watched my intro video, but I talked a lot about Jupiter there. I talked a lot about what Jupiter means, and I just kind of channeled some different expansive messages. But in this portion of the video, I want to talk to you guys, the Capricorns in general, about what's going on on the wheel in the universe. Jupiter's in your 11th house. So when Jupiter is here, certain groups, certain communities and even social groups, networking in any kind of way. This is about mingling with other people, Capricorn, which you can be good at sometimes. It's about gaining a higher knowledge of that. So there may be certain groups over the next because this is a retrograde, okay? So where Jupiter was essentially expanding your 11th house before, retrograde is when the planet slows down, and to the human consciousness, it almost seems as if this planet is moving backwards. So I'm not completely reversing the idea of expansion, but we do want to consider that some of these things could be slowing down right now. So some of you could even feel a little bit distant from your friends over the next 4 months. You could feel a little bit, it might not even be a true distance. It may be just like spiritual distance, or distance at a higher vibration. Like, you can be in a room of people, Capricorn, and feel like you're incredibly alone. So there could be a kind of vibe like that. Capricorn could feel a little bit isolated and alienated right now. Like you're just on a higher knowledge to find your group of people. Your soul tribe is coming up. I actually want to add that here to your notes just because. Like, I feel that it has a lot to do with your soul fam, vibe attracts your tribe type of thing. Jupiter could be traveling backwards, for Capricorn to show you where it is you truly belong, what groups of people you belong in, what community, when I say community, it makes me think of where you live, Capricorn. So if you guys feel over the next 4 months like you just don't live where you want to live, or like you're not where you want to be, well, this is Jupiter traveling backwards to kind of expand your knowledge on the community you live in and on the groups of people you're around. Remember, this is social groups and any type of group you network with, even groups online. So I don't know if some of you work in groups or anything, and if not, this is literally just the people that you associate with that you would call friends. So you're going to be gaining a lot of higher knowledge about your friends and about groups. But I want to take this even deeper, Capricorn, because the 11th house is actually the house of our dreams and our wishes. And that's the area that I'm being led to talk to you about. Yes, we may, and I have a Capricorn rising, so we may expand with friendships. There may be certain expansive friendships that happen over this transit over the next 4 months. That expansion could kind of seem like it's being challenged, or it could kind of seem like it's slowing down. But what it really is really about, what Jupiter is really saying here, it's bringing your dreams and your wishes to the forefront, Capricorn. The 11th house is all about keeping the faith in our dreams and in what we, it's interesting because that has everything to do with the community. We have to start somewhere. We have to start, and sometimes it's in these groups of people and in these communities or in these social networking groups that we find ourselves realizing what it is that we really want. Isn't that weird? That sometimes we can learn from our friends or we can learn from our peers around us. So it makes so much sense to me that in astrology, Aquarius rules the 11th house and that kind of humanitarian energy. So that's what's coming up for you, Capricorn, and that's what's going to be expanded for you. But this is a retrograde, so we can feel a little bit challenged when it comes to these expansive groups and these expansive friendships. But what it really is about our faith and about our wishes, and it's about our dreams, dreams and what we want. Capricorn, you are the house of destiny, or the house of legacy. And it's interesting that I say destiny because destiny is coming up here too. So it is about your legacy, and your legacy is what you leave behind. Your legacy is what you fulfill here and what goes on and on and on, right? You are a very futuristic thinking sign, right? You're all about your futuristic goals. So I think mixing this energy for Capricorn, it's really going to be expansion. It's going to be expansion, like the faith you have when it comes to fulfilling your wishes and when it comes to reaching your goals, Capricorn. The word is dream, but the Capricorn word for dream is goals, because dreams are things that you see but might not come true, right? Not all dreams come true, thank God, because some dreams are nightmares. But the Capricorn word for dream is goal. It's interesting that I'm kind of channeling that right now. So we'll say goal. Your goals and your wishes are going to be expanding over this time. So, I am led here to talk to you a little bit about the opposite of belief, which is doubt. So you want to be careful of doubting, certain dreams and wishes and goals right now, Capricorn, because if there's anything I know about Capricorn energy is that you guys are very ambitious people. And you guys are the mountain goat. So if you're climbing a mountain, one of the worst things to do is think about how hard it is and how out of breath you are and how much further you have to go on the journey. You got to incorporate that ambition here somewhere, Capricorn, because this area is going to be expanded in such a way that you can't ignore it. I mean, Jupiter is the largest planet in our solar system. So the effect of Jupiter is there's no way to ignore it. That's the funny thing about expansion, is that when you make something larger, it's harder to ignore. And what I just seen in my head is like a mistake on a painting. Well, the smaller the mistake, the easier it is to hide it, right? So that's just kind of a weird metaphor there to use. But when something is so big and large like that, it's really hard. It kind of sticks out like a sore thumb is the saying that I've been using. So your dreams and your wishes and your goals and even the groups of people and the community that you're in is going to be sticking out like a sore thumb now, especially because Jupiter is retrograding, challenging your belief in this area, challenging your belief in your goals, Capricorn. And you're not, you can be kind of competitive. So when someone challenges your beliefs and your goals, when they challenge your ambition, Capricorn, well, they just look like a meal that's going to get eaten. You know what I mean? Like, they're another rock to step over. You guys don't usually get, and I know secretly, Capricorn, you can feel challenged in an insecure way, but that never comes to the forefront with you guys because, oh, sorry, that was my alarm, but it never comes to the forefront with Capricorn because of how wise and how long your guys' souls have been here. So I think that's something that also can help you on this journey when it comes to keeping your faith. And it's even keeping your faith, and that's an interesting thing. A lot of Capricorns that I know have, some sort of, oh man, it's just an ambitious faith in something. A lot of Capricorns I know are very religious. They have a very strong faith, especially because you guys are the sign that rules karma. So you guys understand that what goes around comes around. You understand that there is a higher force kind of operating beneath all of this energy, which is the force of karma, the force of time, the force of whatever you put out will eventually come back to you, right? So if you kind of take that and mix it in with this energy of Jupiter, it gets really interesting when you relate that to the way that this might be manifesting around you in these groups, so I think this Jupiter energy is really going to be speaking the language of groups and community and social groups in networking with you. And it really is about keeping that faith. So you know what, Capricorn, it could be groups in the community around you, certain social networking groups, and even professional associations. That could be where the doubt comes in. So I'm led to tell you, Capricorn, that you want to be careful over the next 4 months of any friends that bring up certain doubts with you, because are they really a friend? You know what I mean? Are they really friends? You want to really, really reevaluate who you call a friend. And I'm not sure if you think about it, but you want to, at this time, the groups of people around you have a very strong influence over you. The small group of people you work with, the large group of people that you're around when you go into a club, you know, you can think of these groups as the collective. So this is like collective expansion for you, Capricorn. And it's like happening at a level of humanity. So you could be feeling all of a sudden, this energy could really be bringing an intense vibe to Capricorn. Like you're no longer just ambitious for self, but you're ambitious for an entire cause. Like you're ambitious for your legacy. And it's interesting that Jupiter does this. You know, you take a small stone and you compare it to this large boulder of energy, and it's like they're still made out of the same material, but they're being expressed in different frequencies of size. Jupiter is all about taking something that may appear small to one and expanding that knowledge out. Size does not matter to Jupiter. It's the impact that matters to Jupiter, and it's the impact that's really going to be enlarging the influence of these groups over your life. And I think it's a little bit riddly to talk to you about this. Jupiter in the 11th house is a really weird spot to expand in, because it's not expansion that has to do with you. It's expansion that has to do with those around you. And if it does have to do with you, then it has to do with your dreams and your wishes and your goals, which sometimes can be related to other people, places, and things. So I think the main message here for you, Capricorn, is to, you know, during these challenged beliefs, during this challenging time for our beliefs, because Jupiter rules our beliefs, and for you, this belief is being centered around friends, it's being centered around where you live and the social groups you belong to. It could be even centered around the people that you work with, what you do as service to humanity. You could start getting certain doubts. And I just want you to take very special note in any doubts you have towards your legacy. A legacy is a very dangerous thing to welcome doubts about. You're supposed to be very sure and you're supposed to have a lot of faith in your legacy, because it's essentially what's going to reign on when you're no longer here. You know, your legacy is literally what you leave behind. Some people say that their children are their legacy, or, you know, I never really thought to think about that word in a different way, but I might, when I'm done with your video, I might look up what legacy means, especially before I talk to you in March for your March videos. I'll probably be doing those in the next couple of days. Well, I want to get I want to ascend my knowledge about the word legacy. And I say that like that because Jupiter is all about gaining a higher knowledge of something that maybe you thought you had figured out. Well, when it comes to Jupiter, you can't ever figure something out enough, because Jupiter will just expand you. Jupiter will just ascend you. Jupiter will just evolve you. So there may have been something you missed in the past about a certain group of friends, or something about the community. So you may be thinking a lot about where you're from, and a lot about certain friends that you had and no longer have, or friends that you want to have in your future. And you know, when it comes to your legacy, Capricorn, there may be certain people included in it that this transit may question. So Capricorns are very serious individuals. You guys take life very seriously. You're very cardinal, grounded energies. So it's important that you guys have a solid foundation for your legacy and for your goals, for your dreams. And that is where the faith lies with Capricorn. So over the next 4 months, that foundation could be challenged. And I have all the faith in you guys, because if there's anyone who can handle a challenge, it's you. And it's all the cardinal signs, because you guys don't get caught up in like the mutality of it. You don't get caught up in being stable. You get caught up in the action. So you want to apply action to these beliefs, Capricorn. That's how you can get through this transit very easily. And if there are certain friends that you have doubts in, well, maybe you should really, really consider that, as Jupiter exposing certain friends that are not necessarily friends. You're gaining a higher knowledge about these friends, and you're definitely going to be gaining a lot of higher knowledge about your legacy. There may have been something that you didn't know before, that once you figure this out, because that's the thing, Jupiter kind of drops truth bombs on you. It drops kind of these visions of light, and it expands you. It's like, you ever see or learn something that after learning or seeing it, you're just not the same person anymore, because you can't unlearn it, right? Like, you just learned something and you literally, it's the truth and you have to accept it, and now who you were before this truth is just not there anymore. So Jupiter has like this kind of transformative energy as well, but not quite like Scorpio, in a different way. It more so transforms, and it's not transformation, it's ascension, which are two different words. And that's another topic to kind of think about too, is the difference between ascension and transformation. Do we transform to ascend, or is ascension something that happens before a transformation? I think they kind of go hand in hand. Either way, they're both energies that kind of focus on being something and then turning into a greater version of that, which is so Capricorn. Like, I feel that Capricorn energy with that. So as far as certain goals and wishes you had at Capricorn, they're going to be expanding now. You're going to be gaining a higher knowledge about your legacy, about the faith that you have in these wishes, and about these dreams, and even a little bit about, I keep feeling led to talk to you about the groups of people around you. And I think that there's going to be a humanitarian aspect here. When it comes to all these things we're mentioning here, even your soul tribe, your soul tribe, you may be meeting certain people. So if you get a feeling that you've known a person before, just know that this is Jupiter in your 11th house expanding you to certain friendships, expanding you to people who are on your path of legacy. Isn't that cool to meet someone who doesn't even have to try to be on your path? They were just literally on your path. Sometimes we bump into these energies in life, and they're very important. Now, if you feel this slowing down, that's when you need to keep the faith. And faith is a very Capricorn thing. You guys, earth signs have faith when it comes to foundation. There's a solid faith. The tree that I'm looking at right now out my window has faith in its roots. It has faith in its weakest branch. So there's a stability that comes with earth signs that I would really love to talk more about in a future video or something. But for now, I can just feel your energy, Capricorn, and that, it's interesting that trees were once seeds, and a tree is literally the expanded version of a seed, or of a flower, or of grass. Earth is actually a very expansive thing, and I've never really thought of that before, but, it doesn't matter if it's a twig, or a tree, or a branch, or a bush. There's also a forest. It just depends on how you look at it. And that's another Jupiter thing, is it's all about how you look at these things, Capricorn. And the way that you look at things is going to be expanded over the next 4 months, okay? So I have here something really important that I need to say, which is keeping the faith in humanity and keeping faith in certain friendships. Now, you'll have to use your discernment, which is another Capricorn word, integrity and discernment. So Jupiter is going to be exposing certain groups of people that are not on your path. And I know you're not used to that, Capricorn. When it comes to your friends, you don't really care the energy that they have, because Capricorn sees friends as this they're just essentials. Like, I don't know, extensions of you is what I meant to say. You just see your friends as an extension of you. And when you see that, well, you have your own self in check. So sometimes you can think that your friends are in check. What I'm saying is that I don't think many Capricorns often consider the impact that their friends can have over them. And it's just because you guys are such solid figures. Why would you worry about something as silly as what this friend can bring to the table? Well, Jupiter is bringing that to the forefront, okay? So you want to keep that in mind over the next four months, Capricorn. This is an interesting transit for you, and I really welcome your comments, and your experiences with this energy, and if you have any questions or anything like that, because I'm not gonna lie, this is one of my more mysterious. I might just do some extra research on Jupiter in the 11th house, because it's not something that I've really ever considered before talking with you. And it's interesting to be expanded on a humane level like that. So that's all I have for you in this video, Capricorn. And like I said, I'll leave all my information below if you have any questions. And until then, I will talk to you in a couple days for your March videos. Bye!